So the Indiana Fever might win a championship this year. And obviously, look, they have their big three. Their three best players on the year are probably going to be Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell. And that's only a probably. You never know. You never know. But I don't think it's a crazy prediction to predict that the three All Stars from last year are going to be their three best players, especially because Dewanna Bonner is somebody that isn't going to play that many minutes. But there is, if they win the championship, this is the key signing. I think we're going to look at the stat sheet, and I think Natasha Howard is going to look better on the stat sheet. I think there's going to be players that might look better on the stat sheet than Dewanna Bonner, but I'm telling you guys right now, from everything we've heard from the team, this is the perfect player that they signed. So everybody's talking about, there's no better vet. Like Kelsey Mitchell is talking about Dewanna Bonner as a vet. Kelsey Mitchell's about to turn 30, and she's talking about having Dewanna Bonner as a vet, which is huge. And again, one of the greatest players to ever play in the league. But if you're just watching some of the stuff in the clips, it's like, if your job is to ever really like scout basketball, if you're ever scouting players, if you're ever watching a team, if you're ever watching anything, you can normally tell within about 10 possessions. You can tell 90% of the story in 10 possessions. Like, obviously, there are like little things. Some people can be having bad days, but you can normally tell how someone's going to fit within 10 possessions. You can. And again, you can be wrong. There are some like exceptions, especially players that fit out rather than fit in. Sometimes if a player fits out and they're kind of a bit of a mercurial player, that they can look real good, and it just turns out that, no, they don't fit. It was just a fluke. Or they can look real bad, and it's like, no, they're actually that good. They're just having a bad day. But for a player like Dewanna Bonner, who's a player that's going to fit, who's a piece to a puzzle, not the engine, you can tell what their impact's going to be, and it's going to be huge. First of all, off the court, great. You've got someone who's already talking to the media. You've seen it, like her, Aaliyah Boston, like straight away. They talk to the media. Caitlin Clark is not talking to the media. Stephanie Weiss not talking to the media. They've got enough star power that they can tell Caitlin Clark some days, you don't need to talk to the media today. You don't need it. We'll send Dewanna Bonner out. We'll send Aaliyah Boston out. So we'll do all of that stuff. And I think that it's huge for off-court stuff, but on the court is so important, because if you watch the way the Fever are playing defense now, and you can see philosophies, like, look, every single team, it's a lot of people are like, oh, what, the Fever aren't showing off their defense. I would assume they're going to have different looks. They're going to have different looks on specific teams. But I think there's just a general, every good defensive team has a general philosophy and then specialized tactics for certain teams. And that's realistically what you're meant to do on defense. The problem is last year their philosophy was try hold the teams to less than 84 points. That was literally their philosophy. And the fact that they did it, if you watch, again, the game they beat the Liberty, it is the worst defensive performance in the history of basketball. They did not guard Sabrina Ionescu. They didn't guard her. They did not guard Breanna Stewart. They just missed. They just missed. They didn't guard anybody. Like, that's not good defense. And Christy Sides, again, as a coach, I'm always a process-based coach, where it's like, if somebody hits a tough shot, the job of defense, especially the professional level of basketball, is force the opponent into taking as difficult shots as possible. Sometimes good offense will always be good defense, and sometimes the offense is too good and they just win. But when it comes to the Fever last year, they did not care. They were like, we don't care what we do as long as the other team doesn't score this amount of points, which is the worst philosophy to have on defense, because it relies on the other team stinking. It relies on the other team stinking. It means you have no control over how many points they score as a defense. But if you look this year at how they're playing, so first of all, we're going to just, if you're looking at how Dewanna Bonner's playing, so she kind of plays, she can play anywhere. She can play on the wing. She can play inside. Big, this is Natasha Howard's save right here, is it? Yeah, big save from Natasha Howard this possession. Dewanna Bonner there on the perimeter. Good, really good read into Natasha Howard for the foul. Like, she's just making smart decisions. Like, you can tell immediately she's not meant to be guarding Colson, tracks back on defense. And if you look at this possession right here, just look at the length. Look at the length that she has. I wish I could show this in a bigger screen. But I can go slightly bigger. But just look at the length of Dewanna Bonner. So the ball then goes to the other side of the floor. They do a good job here of icing this screen and kind of soft hedging, showing a soft trap, and gives time for Aaliyah Boston to recover. And this would have been a perfect defense to hold a trap if she wasn't guarding Damaris Dantas. But if you're looking at everything here, so I can't really see it from this angle, but if you see Dewanna Bonner's positioning here, when the ball's on the wing for this pick and roll, so you see just again with her length, it's hard to see on this possession because of the angle the angle that he has here, but from the side angle which we saw yesterday, on this possession here, Dewanna Bonner is kind of in a position where she's able to cover both Colson and protect the basket. So what that means is if realistically Jaylen Brown shouldn't be there, she should not be on that side of the floor. But even if the Grey team played offense properly, it means that if Sophie Cunningham drives and Natasha Howard helps in, it allows the Fever to have a Dewanna Bonner be able to both simultaneously help the helper and recover to Sydney Colson, who she's guarding. And that type of weak side defensive length is extremely important. That off-ball length is something the Fever did not have last year. Like, I think Lexi Hull's very good at getting around screens and stuff, but that on-ball length as your like tertiary defender in Dewanna Bonner, and like you're going to probably start Kelsey Mitchell on the other team's fast guard. You're going to put Dewanna Bonner on their better wing, and you're going to leave Caitlin Clark as the kind of weak side defender, or you put Caitlin Clark on one of their wings and you have Dewanna Bonner as a weak side defender. Like, either way can work because it allows you leeway in Caitlin getting either burned off the dribble or burned on the cut when you've got Dewanna Bonner and help. So you got this, and also in this possession it ends with exactly what you want to see. So one thing the Fever were really bad at was the defensive rebounding, because they didn't box out. They did not believe in boxing out. And Liz Smith was a really good rebounder in space. She is a really good rebounder in space. Does not box out. So Aaliyah Boston, obviously, if she's pulled out. But one thing they now have, which they didn't have last year, to an extent, Caitlin Clark was a weak side rebounder. To an extent. Not a terrible one, but more so when a lot of Caitlin Clark's rebounds weren't her rising up over somebody. They were everybody else kind of clearing out and allowing Caitlin to catch the rebound to initiate the break. But if you're looking here, Dewanna Bonner, boom, weak side rebound, being able to push the floor. And again, being able to turn defense to offense, making smart decisions. Again, you see her and Caitlin trying to just figure out people in this scrimmage. So when it comes to these two players, it's an awful lot of just passing the ball. The two of them, like Dewanna Bonner is just looking for mismatches. She's just looking to pick apart the defense. And you can tell, like, when it comes to Caitlin and Dewanna, they're both going to look for their shots a bit more, but you can tell they have this ability to kind of slow down the game and make the right decisions, and they're just looking for others to see what their teammates can do. Like, these two players are, like, and when you add the IQ, there's like the highest IQ young player in the WNBA in Caitlin Clark. When you add the highest IQ big in Aaliyah Boston, to the team, or is that Natasha Howard and Aaliyah Boston, you have the highest IQ big, and you got one of the GOATs who's 38 years old, a vet, super high IQ player. They're just feeling each other out, but it's the defense. It is just the way that they can run defense with Dewanna Bonner and how important she's going to be for that defense. Because obviously you're looking here, in fairness, Bree Hall makes a really nice layup here. She makes a really, really nice layup. Dewanna Bonner is not on the floor at the minute, I don't think. Is she? No. This is a terrible shot by Kelsey Mitchell. Well, I just want to see Dewanna Bonner on the floor. Dewanna Bonner just decides, you know what, I'm playing the 4. She decides, I'm playing the 4. We're going to pick and pop. I'm going to get the ball. We're going to see what the cutters are doing. And you're just looking at the way the players are moving off the ball, the passing. Great finish there. And it is the perfect piece. It is a piece that solves so many problems for the Fever. Because she is a better scorer than Lexi Hull. She's a better passer than Lexi Hull. She's a different defender to Lexi Hull. But like, that upgrade is so big. And this team does not need, if you guys have been listening to my channel for the last year, my whole thing is that the Fever should do whatever they can do to get Leonie Fibish. Because I think that she's Dewanna Bonner-esque. I think she's 6'4", super intelligent, sniper, good passer, lockdown defender. And if you're asking me who I would rather have, it would be still Fibish, especially for long term. But short term, having a vet in Dewanna Bonner helps as well. Like, this is the player that's really going to be, like, Natasha Howard is going to finish plays. She's going to score points. She's going to get buckets. She's going to run the floor. I actually think Natasha Howard's going to play decent defense. I stand by that. Like, she didn't play any defense in Turkey at all. She didn't play any defense the last couple of years. I don't think she has it in her to play two ends of the floor at the elite level as a 30-plus minute a game player. That's what we got Bree Turner there for. That's what we got Michaela Timpson there for. That's what we got Sophie Cunningham there for, to allow Natasha Howard play 25 good minutes a game and give you 12 and 7 in those 25 minutes, which is what you need. But not saying this team goes where Dewanna Bonner goes, because Dewanna Bonner is just a piece. But if this is the addition that pushes the Fever from good team to contenders, and they are contenders, don't get it twisted, they are contenders. And like, you have, like, their problem was their defense, and in fairness to Caitlin Clark, like, we heard it from Cheryl Miller, she can take instruction well. If you tell her to do something, she can do it on defense. It was just Christy Sides was a horrendous coach. And obviously, look, the biggest change when it comes to the Fever is the coaching. Is Stephanie White over Christy Sides. Let's be real, that's the biggest change. But as far as their personnel changes go, Dewanna Bonner is such a good addition. Such a good addition. The communication, the weak side defense, the ability to hit that shot, the ability to hoop when she's not scoring. Selflessness. We saw it last year that, like, even at times during the season when Marina Mabry came in, maybe it was only for a couple of games, but she was like, Marina Mabry struggling off the bench. She was like, I'll come off the bench. Like, there is a selflessness there with Dewanna Bonner at the age she's at, even though she's an all-star, that just wants to win another championship. And man, I think the Fever, I'm feeling really good about the Fever. Look, the Liberty are still the Liberty. The Lynx are the Lynx. Like, I'm not putting them as my top two favorites yet. I'm not putting them there. But for me, it goes Liberty, Lynx, or Lynx, Liberty, Fever, big gap. And then I don't know which of, like, the Mercury, the Storm, the Aces, two of them are going to be okay. Don't know which will be. One of them's going to implode. I'm calling it right now. One of the Mercury, Storm, or Aces are going to implode this season and maybe not make the playoffs. Don't know which one it's going to be. They're the next three best teams. Don't know which one it's going to be. And then after that, like, Spark, Sky, Wings, Dream, all in that section. Nah, not that good. Anyway, I'll see you guys.